So let's get down to it. Let's talk
Yes.
about the anniversary event so far. So, as a lot
Yeah.
of people have seen, a lot of people have been a little disappointed. Of course, Drake is a hero that isn't one like Carrie was, where you can instantly see the value of him. I mean, he does have a lot of value in PvE. He does have value in PvP, but it has to do with like specific lineups, and I tried some of it myself. Works decently. I don't know if you've had a chance to play with him at all in PvP. Have you, June?
No, no PvP testing whatsoever, and a very, very short stint in Aspen Dungeon. I got access to two accounts. One of them is Jason's. We all know Jason's account.
Mm.
I got a little bit there and a brief run, I think. Actually, maybe that might have been the only account. I think the other one was just Sherlock account from the
Yeah,
leak. So yeah, just a really brief. No PvP though.
no PvP. But even in
Yeah,
Aspen, you ended up getting like the hardest waves on like Death 1 and 2,
yeah.
didn't you?
Yeah, it was tough. Definitely put them to the test, and they didn't really rise to the occasion. And then that could be again, Aspen Dungeon is a lot to do with not so much enables, but more gear
Yeah.
and the stone. Stone's very important, so it could have just been a mismatch there. But
Yeah, and
time will tell.
I don't think on Jason's account he has very many stones set up perfectly, at least for the new heroes. I know
Yeah,
his
it's tough.
Russells aren't really amazing stones. I feel like when it comes to like Russell stones work good, or like the holy damage ones, or even armor break seems to be pretty good because most of the time, at least from my experience, you're gonna want to run Russell with a crown if you have it.
Yeah.
If you don't have a crown, there's two other options I would say. One is if you have invested everything on Celestial Island to the light speed shrine, you can try to run him fast, but usually tanky is the best when it comes to Russell. So I did a Aspen Dungeon run with Russell. I did not even try the Drake because I don't have the guild tech. I don't have any of that stuff. So I was like, I'm
Mm.
not even gonna embarrass myself by trying to use Drake. But Russell
Yeah.
seemed to be pretty good. I was kind of under the same opinion you were, June, where it was like,
Mm.
man, that active round one just makes him a sitting duck for round one. But then I realized his active
Yeah.
just one shots everything. Like,
Yeah.
besides
Mhm.
Valkyries, it was one shotting every single hero.
Yeah. It was impressive to see your video. I checked it out definitely, and he does make up for the fact. So I guess I think that's why the argument I think is valid to keep him tanky, just so he
Mm-hmm.
can survive that onslaught of one round. Take
Yep.
especially he's fighting those quad waves. Take one round of hits, and he can kind of dish out that crazy active and the follow up arrows. And that's the same is to be said about PvP. A bit more nuance there in PvP because there's a lot of factors, but having him tanky is definitely something that'll allow him to. I didn't even know that was a mechanic. I mean, so like, people turn to people in the community to showcase heroes, and I was just there testing it. I was so excited to get into Aspen Dungeon, give him a demon potion, and then he just died. Like we had two Russells on the account. The first one just died, and I was sitting there on stream like, what happened? Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's those little things, but you learn from experience. And yeah, I definitely learned there. I was like, okay, so he is a sitting duck for a round, so you need to kind of compensate with that, with whether it's gear, split gear, stone, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Crown, obviously, like you mentioned, amazing artifact on him, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm pretty sure like if you get a chance, I'll let you do Jason's again. I'll just take care of mine and try it. But next time you try on Jason's account, pretty sure he has a couple crowns to throw crowns on both of them.
Yeah.
I feel like
I think we.
Russell with even just like HP enables are big on him too. HP
Mhm.
enables, the healing. I even use resilience. Resilience seem to help you live through that one I'm a sitting duck phase
Mhm.
to keep you still at like 50% health. I mean, sometimes you proc, but at least you proc at a high health.
Yeah.
And as long as you're not going against an Asmodel or something like that, I feel like you're going to be in a good spot.
Yeah, the Asmodeles are super scary with the
Yeah,
marks, and
always
I mean,
scary.
it's probably wishful thinking, but it would have been nice had they've given Russell that Ada treatment, like a percentage HP heal at the end of round. That 400 attack's kind of like, I
Yeah,
mean, it's there, it's doing something, but oh, it would have been so nice.
it
Even 10%, even like
especially since
a
we want
couple
to build him
percent.
tanky too. It's like the
Exactly,
heal is
exactly.
not enough.
Yeah,
Because I even
yeah.
tried him the first day, like everything attack enables, attack everything. I think I used Augustus Magic Ball on him too. Or no,
Yeah.
actually I used Magic Stone Sword, so I still get the attack, but I got some tankiness. And
Mhm.
yeah, the heal just felt like it wasn't doing anything at all. So I'm kind of hoping the heals bug just like Dazzle is. So
Maybe it's
at least
possible.
in
Yeah.
Aspen Dungeon, Dazzle doesn't do anything because
Yeah.
Dazzle basically, if you
Yep.
guys don't know, is his last passive. At the end of every round, he's supposed to have a certain percent chance to put Dazzle on someone. What that does is it makes them target a random minion or a random enemy with their attacks. So Currently, it does work on some heroes, others it doesn't. So if you hit carry with it, her big active will only hit one hero, and that feels amazing when it happens. If
Hmm.
you hit Garuda, Garuda just still kills your whole team. It doesn't work for some reason. So the only thing I can think is because each individual feather is random, possibly. So I feel like they're going to come back and say it's working as intended. I don't know about
Intended.
you, how you interpret that, but at least the way her active works, I mean, each one is individual, but it's supposed to hit one of three people. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I really like they gave us a in the Q&A, right? That I think they did mention that about the Wikipedia that they were trying to create inside the game.
Yeah.
And stuff like that is I think something that is required. If we're gonna talk about like mechanics and get in the nitty-gritty of things, it would really help if the devs had an open line of communication for small stuff and it wasn't
Yeah.
just this random people having to email and send videos and like
Yeah.
GDP is like really spearheading that as well as Mega Theory. I'm trying to just get in contact with support and be like, listen, is this how it's supposed to be done? Or and then half of the replies are like, yeah, no, it is. And then it's like, well, I don't think it is. Like, oh, let us check. And then maybe there's
And send
something,
us a video.
hidden mechanic that we haven't explained. It's like, come
Yep.
on, please. Please.
It's a
But yeah.
bug that is intended, of course. Just like,
Yep.
I mean, one of the big things right now, Phoenix buff stacking, but the
Yeah.
snake and the wolf don't stack like the Phoenix stack. So,
Yeah.
and at this
Yeah,
point,
that
I
is.
feel like they can't change it and they can't fix the Phoenix because then that means you're hurting everybody that's trying to push Seal Land that hasn't gotten there yet. And
Mhm.
working as intended.
It's intended.
But yeah, I mean, I think Russell does have a chance to do really well. Not as a solo pusher in Sealand or in Aspen. I do feel like he could probably push up to Death One by himself, though.
Oh
The
yeah, I think so. His potential there is big. Like just that nuke. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
the
He's
only
he's a really
weakness he
strong hero.
has is when he starts at zero energy in Death on certain waves. Like the one that it was really bad is it was against the one the pennies. So after I finished and I beat the Valkyrie wave, I then had zero energy left over, and then Penny just kind of like two shot you.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I need 2 rounds because you got to figure once you're in that active ability, you also have more damage reduction, so it helps. And then between that and resilience and hopefully unbending, it keeps you alive. But yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. I do think he'll be able to be another Penny type hero for Aspen. I don't know if I'd say he'd be as good though. I feel like he has higher damage burst potential, but there's that downside of that 1 round you have to live and get hit, which then means
Yeah.
you have to use potions.
Yep, yep. Yeah, he's
So
definitely doesn't have there's something to be said about there's certain heroes that again use demon potions very well, and
yeah.
he's not really one of them. Again, it'd be interesting to see if you stack 2 or 3 demon potions, what he could do in the later stages,
Oh
like if you're
yeah.
trying to make to death 50. If he can survive somehow against these really, really strong waves, then he can give out a really because just with one active he's doing I think you're doing between 7 and 10 million in that
Yeah.
range. So that's huge. That's
Yep.
killing most waves up into 40 into
Oh
level
yeah.
40.
Yeah, and
So
that's without
yeah,
extra skill
yeah,
damage. Like
yeah, yeah.
it's just
So
I can imagine if with like one or two of them.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean overall, I think people are still disappointed in Drake just because it isn't that hero
Yes.
like carry where you throw it in any lineup and it works. You kind of really need to build him specifically, and you need specific support heroes to go with him. I'd actually argue even Russell's like that too, but not as much. You can kind of throw Russell in anywhere, but of course, they both work better with very support heavy groups. So we're going from a full carry meta of you need to have 3 or 4 carries plus Adas or Terras and a
Mhm.
Garuda to 1 to 2 Sherlock, 1 to 2 Russell, and 1 to 2 Drake with
Yeah.
either like Adas or Belrains or even Ormus's.
Yeah.
I've been playing around with Ormus and he's been doing amazing. Like
Yeah.
crazy healing. Not even just the healing, the rescue marks are huge.
Yeah. It's interesting seeing just how again the pendulum swinging in both directions, and it just seems like again we just like to complain, right? Everyone just likes it's just super easy to complain and criticize, and we have people that if we look back at the history of the last, several months leading into 2020, it was people felt really bad for spinning their scrolls down for Tara because it wasn't that hero. They
Yep.
thought it was going to be an Ada. And then the people that spent 2,000 there and couldn't capitalize on the carry, they felt super bad. They're like, wow, this hero is just dominating. And it's been 5 months of that. and then you're just waiting for the new meta shift, and now it's like, oh, it's a specific hero you need with a specific comp, which isn't even really flushed out yet, right? We
Yeah.
have people that are testing like yourself and GDP, and then they're trying to figure out the best compositions. But I mean, we're only 4 days into the new meta, so it's
Oh
really
yeah.
hard to say like it's anywhere near to like perfected. So you're never really pleasing any crowd, right? There's the people that like, I don't want the meta to shift, and then sometimes it shifts so much that it's like, well, I need a whole new team. I
Yeah.
need 3 priests. Like, where is this coming from? So
I feel like people go overboard on the overpowered hero. Like, even on my server, nobody's even talking about building Drake right now. They're still talking about building their second and third and fourth carries. And I'm like, you need to stop right now and just wait, because
yeah.
that's another thing is people in the community have this thought of Drake is just garbage. In reality, at least as far as me and GDP have been testing, even against other Sherlock teams and stuff like that, Drake is going to be extremely strong in the right lineup. Like, I know that's hard to say, oh, yeah, in the exact right lineup and the blah, 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 he's perfect. But I mean, that's what the very end game PvP pretty much is you got the exact heroes you want in the exact composition with the exact right stones and artifacts and everything like that. And I don't know. I feel like part of the complaints right now is people don't want to spend scrolls, so now they definitely don't want Drake to be good. So it's like they don't even want to hear that he could
Right.
be
No, it's
good
true.
because
Oh yeah.
people don't want something that they don't have to be good.
Right. Yeah.
That's
I
what I
mean,
feel like the community
yeah.
is acting like right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's FOMO. It's definitely FOMO, and it's tough because this game is designed in a way where I mean, I think a lot could be solved again if that open line of communication were to exist between testers or even like,
Hmm.
community like leaders and the devs. So you get a bit more mechanics, a little bit more understanding of stuff. So then when you go to test stuff, you can really give informed information to the people so they can make an informed decision. Whereas right now it's like it's already hard to make an E5 hero,
Yeah.
let alone make, a couple heroes and just to pivot all of a sudden, right? Not everyone has
Hmm.
the resources to just pivot one squad into the other squad. So there really is a lot of feels bad because again the timing matters too because again like I mentioned the Tara the carry into this the timing is just so crucial and sometimes it really pays off to just hold off and pass on the hype and the
Hmm.
community doesn't help in that sense either right because
No.
everyone's showing their screenshots everyone's getting heroes flipping flipping Russells and it's all that hype so we all kind of make it worse for ourselves but at the same
Yeah.
time I think one of the solutions would be to get a little bit more communication a little bit more open line of communication with the devs so we get a bit more understanding so we can give a more informed decision. And again, it's only 4 days. So and the sad part is we have a 1 week window, right? We got to
Yep.
roll those scrolls or hold them till Christmas. And that's
Yep.
pretty much it's a hold pattern until then. So it is rough. It's definitely rough.
And at that point, I feel like people might just be like, well, I'm just going to save for Christmas and Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yep.
kind of like you said, it's all about timing. If
Hmm.
Carrie didn't come out, Terra was primed to be the most oppressive hero in multiples ever. I
Hmm.
mean, Terra, when I built him in Christmas, instantly made my team so much stronger. Like, he really was such a tanky damage. Like, even though you built him tanky, he still did so much AoE damage. And then once I
Hmm.
built the second one too, it was just like crazy, crazy. But then, of course, carry. When there was one carry, it was fine. But the
Hmm.
second you started seeing the two and three when March came around was when it was like, yeah, Terra's not good. But in
Right.
reality, when you really think about it, Terra's still one of the best heroes right now. If you can
Yeah.
fit him in a proper lineup with two of him.
Yeah, yeah, that too with the seal
Mm-hmm.
disabling the E3 enable purify, like
Yep.
that's huge. And heroes like that are great because they might have been a flash in the pan and there was really small accessibility, but
Mm-hmm.
with time, when people get access to relics and they can build them up and maybe build the twin pair there, that's really
Yeah.
huge because the shelf life is great on heroes like that. Disabling passives and the purify ability is something that's always going to be needed in the metagame, no matter how it
Yeah.
shifts, right? As long as there's not something that directly counters Tara's ability to get those seals off or get land those marks. But I just in chat here, Saul was asking, Very Gaming, what are your thoughts on a possible non-LD hero that causes a meta shift? I think that's a good question.
I mean,
Thanks,
that's
Saul.
pretty much what Garuda did, and that was another hero that people
Hmm.
were not gonna touch when she first came out because they thought, no, I have to wait till Christmas. I built her, and I was like, this hero's broken. Why are people not using their scrolls right now? I mean, a lot of these heroes have the meta shift potential. The problem is people don't build them because they're so overhyping light and dark heroes that they pass up these amazing heroes. Sherlock, everybody was saying he
Yeah.
was garbage, horrible. He is by far the best hero in the meta right now. If you don't have two of them soon, you're not going to have a chance at winning. Simple as that. If you don't have two by the end of this Prophet Orb event, you're at a huge disadvantage. I
Yeah.
mean, hell, I wouldn't be surprised if GDP builds a third one, honestly, to just play around with. But
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
that hero is very it's really strange though, because like we rewind 1 year ago, right? And we have Amon Ram Petty hitting the meta.
mhm.
And then I was like not knowledgeable about the meta or anything like that.
Yeah,
Really like
same
none of
here.
my concern. I was still fumbling around. But even then it's I think it's the majority of people, like it's really hard to predict how a hero does. Even when you read, like there's only a few people that can really kind of look at a hero in a vacuum and go, oh, that's gonna work. Because
Yeah,
somehow they figured the puzzle out in their mind, like, no, it's gonna work because this exists already, but this is like a good play there. So it's really hard to do that. So that the heroes that come out that aren't non-LD that shake up the meta,
yeah.
it is unfortunate because I mean, Garuda, Valk, Penny to a certain extent, they're like a new breed of non-LD that actually give players that aren't spending that much money or they really save a
Hmm.
chance, but at the same time, it's not because you said like those people we've been conditioned to be Aid is the best, Aspen
Yeah,
was the best,
yeah,
Amon Ra was the best, so you're always trying to go towards the LD. So, and that just falls, I guess, on the community to try to pool our resources, get a couple people to test, and then really come back with
hmm,
a clear breakdown of what they honestly think it is, and if it really is not a great hero, they can honestly tell us that okay, it's not working out that great. But
yeah,
that doesn't seem to be the case, even though this is probably the first LD release where people have kind of been on the fence. Usually, it's pretty
hmm,
the majority's agreeing like it's broken, it's crazy, it's
yep,
amazing. You
yep.
need it, you need it in couple and in doubles or triples. But yeah, it's unfortunate that again it comes down to a resource thing, right? And I think they're actively working on that. We see Celestial Island again. We mentioned that
Hmm.
last podcast, but they're giving
Trying to
us
give
more
you more
access to
food.
food. Yeah, yeah. So I think that's it's definitely it's, it's all working slowly, but again, the game is slow. It's glacial. It's ice. It's idle, of course. And when you get big events like this, it's hard to figure out. Am I gonna pull the trigger? Am I gonna wait? Am I gonna
Yeah,
save?
yeah. Which honestly, I think part of it is with the new development squad here that we have in Idle Heroes and DH Games is I feel like what they are planning is healthier for the game, but is not what the community is ready for. So, like you said, we are always used to having that brand new Light and Dark be the meta hero for at least a full year. So you can go in, get the hero. I'm at least okay for a year. I can save up again. It feels like Carrie was a little bit of an anomaly, but I feel like that might have been left over from the previous administration, so to speak, of
Yeah.
developers. I feel like their goal is to make counter heroes and have a constantly evolving and changing counter meta. I mean, even when you just consider about right now, like even if you just look at this week and what the meta is going to turn into, GDP said it amazingly in Idle Heroes Discord chat. He said, "Here's this lineup. You have the double Sherlock, the double Russell, the double Drake. Hard countered by Garudas right now. If they have 2 to 3 Garudas, it's actually really hard to beat that lineup. It's really hard, especially with good support with them too and carries that are constantly popping up and solving. But if then you go to counter the Garudas with carries, it's like you're making yourself better against certain teams, but then you're worse against others. So there's no this is the one end all lineup you need to hunt and search for now. Like
Mhm.
last year this time, or pretty close to it. If you didn't have 2 Asmodel in the front row and 4 Adas in the back, you're gonna lose. That was the ultimate lineup. There were no counters to it besides having your own and getting luckier.
Mhm.
Nowadays, there's so many heroes in the lineup. I mean, a lot of the best lineups me and GDP have been testing are one of 6 different heroes. It's like that's kind of refreshing to see. We have a
Yeah.
lot of diversity in your teams. There's a lot of support heroes. The tankier support meta is coming back. It's making heroes like Olivia, which everybody and I thought she was at least decent when she came out, is actually really strong.
Mhm.
Belrain is by far the best support to have on your team besides a Sherlock. More of a healing support. Sherlock is that weird CC tanky type support utility person that can do a little of everything, but doesn't, you can't win with a Sherlock. There's no way you're going to win a fight with just your Sherlock. But
Hmm.
it does feel like we're kind of moving into that meta where it's constantly changing. They're making heroes, I guess you would say, more balanced with niche abilities. But then again, the community's not ready for it because they're used to waiting for that one big hero instead of, no, let me just find the hero I want and use my scrolls. Because
Hmm.
part of it is too, I mean, like, people are complaining how this event isn't great, which, yes, you do have to pay a lot if you want everything, even the Russell copies, which is, yeah, it kind of sucks that Russell's behind a paywall. But, I mean, last year, I couldn't build Penny or Amun Ra because I only had like 6 copies of each of them because it was a horrible event. It was really, really bad. I could not get either of them. There was no guarantee to get them, whereas this one, technically, I had a guarantee for both if I spent. There is.
Hmm.
But I think the difference is that in the past, the only good events were the big events. Now, a lot of
Yes.
events are good. A lot of
Right.
events are
No.
good.
Yep. I totally agree with that. I mean, there's multiple points there, but yeah, that just to touch on that, like multiple events being good and the pace that they've kept, the diversity that's available because it seems like they're going at a steady clip. It's been I I want to say it was Gustin's release. I could be wrong there. Chat can correct me, but it's been a while of just these consistent every single month we're getting a new hero, a new hero, a new hero, and then that leads into a big anniversary or Chinese New Year's event, Christmas event, and we get another new hero, and then we just keep going with that. Right now,
Mm,
it can seem like a lot, and it is a lot. Obviously, when you look at it objectively, it's like there's just a hero dropping every month. How can a player possibly keep up? And it's like it's not really about keeping up. Again, I think it's for the overall health of the game to to alleviate a lot of the oppressive heroes, you need heroes that are niche. Sometimes they hit the ball right on the head when it gives you a good hero that's a counter that's not oppressive, that just
yeah.
fits in nicely to a team comp that can support your team or provide something your team is currently lacking in the meta. So I think it's good that they're keeping up the pace. Now, it doesn't feel good as an end game user when you're trying to like when you're constantly being quote unquote debated by all these events every
Hmm.
single month and it's that's something that whales will struggle with as well as free to play as well as dolphins, right? We
Yep.
all struggle with that same problem, but I think when you take a step back and look at the entirety of the game, it is a healthy thing to have a continuous influx of new abilities and new random things. And I think it is exciting as a player on that level, but to build it, it's going to be, it's just going to be a really hard thing to accomplish. But I do think in the bigger picture, it is something that is very healthy for the game because you get these niche lineups and the diversity. I think the diversity is absolutely amazing for the game moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think like what Sunset Jesus is talking about, it does for lower spinners, you feel it more when the side rewards aren't as good. I will say one thing that I don't know, you guys in chat need to let me know what you feel, but to me, like the whales of the game, a lot of the big arguments I see right now is, well, this is just making the gap bigger between the whales and the low spinners. And I'm like, listen here. I'd say my account is a whale, but there's no way I'm ever going to compete with the GDPs, with the Jolins, and all them in the world. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to catch up. When it comes to 6v6 in Arena, yeah, you can. And that's where you need to keep your focus if you're not the big old whales. You need to focus on, I'm not going to even think about Trial of Champion or IDA. What I need to try to do is optimize my team and pick the heroes as they come out through the year that I think are going to fit my team composition the best because I'm only going to build 1 or 2 E5s a year. So it's really important you pick ones that fit your team because, like you said, it's not like us where we can just start throwing different heroes into our team. You just can't do that.
Hmm.
So the struggle I feel like is, and part of it is I almost would say the toxicity of tier lists in the game and how bad. The reason why, I don't know if you guys have heard me say it, but the reason why I've never done a tier list is you cannot make one list that is good for every player. Simple as that. Some players will get really bad information off of that and start trying to build that one hero that's that top tier hero. But that top tier hero is really only good late game in PvP. Guess what? If you build it as one of your first heroes, you're gonna fall so far behind you're not gonna enjoy your time. It's not gonna that hero's not gonna be able to help you because you don't have the rest of your team built up. It's very, and I think that's part of it is so much of the Idle Heroes community is looking for the tell me who to build and then I'll just do it. I'll take your advice, I'll do it. But a lot of it comes down to listening to what people like GDP say about heroes, the little bit that I put out that's actually decent, things like that, and trying to decide, well, this is what my team is. It's not going to change much in the next 3 months. Is this hero going to make my next 3 to 4 months really good? And like,
Hmm.
just for example, Garuda on my account when it came out, I wasn't going to build her. And then I saw one video of it and I was like, I have a really crap scary team. I need help in PvP. Garuda will fit perfectly on my team. I built her and instantly my win rates went up. If I would have waited for Terra, it would have been abysmal. Like, I would not have synergized with my team. It would not have helped my team. Nothing like that.
Hmm. Yeah, it does come down to the timing thing too. Sometimes you're just fortunate. And just to touch back on what you're saying, it's interesting because there is a gap, and there's definitely whatever level of toxicity we want to apply to that situation where the widening of the gap between the highest of spenders to the to the I guess the megalodons to the whales to the dolphins and to the free to play players. But what's ironic is that we all support the game in one way or another, whether we make content, whether we support them financially, and because we're all there and we're trying to enjoy that game, we actually rely on the people on the higher end. Like when
Yeah.
Zeals was still making his content, he had Jolin, and they were making their like cutting edge
Mm-hmm.
data. Like that was so important, and that would trickle down, and the people that did watch it could use that information and try to make an informed decision. And ultimately, I think this game does come down to the sharing of information between high spenders and low spenders and no, and the non-spenders. And then at the end of the day, you're trying to make the best decision for you. What's going to give me 2 to 3 months of enjoyment because I saved up these resources? I can level up my team, and I really think that there is that common complaint of like this is just going to make the game worse. But I think as more and more people are willing to get on Discord, make content on YouTube, and stream on Twitch, and we can have open conversations about what we don't like, what we do like, what's working, what's not working, it's only going to make, again, I'm just for making the game bigger and better and having it enjoyable for everyone. And hopefully, when we talk about these things, we can bring two different perspectives, and that'll hopefully inform people that are listening. Okay, maybe I never looked at it like that, right? Maybe
Yeah.
there is a point here, and okay, maybe the complaints are warranted, but I can dial it back a little bit, or I kind of get the bigger picture now.
Yeah, exactly. It's I feel like, and plus they're also trying to make it, I feel like, for the whales out there to be able to show off the heroes a little better as well, because with the new, Palace of Crystal and Palace of Eternity,
Hmm.
it now makes it so that the whales will want to build pretty much every single hero, but they don't have to worry about it because they can always swap that hero at another later point. If it ends up being that hero is just garbage, they can let the community know instead of being like, well,
Hmm.
like me when Olivia came out. I was like, it took me all week to find a person, and someone was just like, hell, I'll try it. I'll try to build it. I want to beat this one specific person. Hopefully it works. And that was like the only person I saw that built Olivia. And that was just because I'm just hoping. I don't know
Hmm.
if she's good. Let's just try. And at least now, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm sure GDP is going to keep pumping out every single hero every month.
Yep.
And especially
Uh,
people, even mid spenders, I mean, mid to higher at 500. If it's going to be $500 every time the new hero comes out to get all the crystals, might not be too easy to find, but you'll definitely see the whales that will at least build the hero and let you know if they're decent, if they're going to work for a team, something like that. So that's my hope. I know people say Palace of Eternity is just another thing that widens the gap between spenders and non spenders. I mean, I won't deny that. It's pretty accurate. But,
mhm.
like you said, that information from those top tier players and those whales are going to help you. You should never be trying to compete with GDP. I'm sorry, you just shouldn't. I'm never going to compete with GDP. I pick my lane. My lane is 6v6 Crystal Crown League or Crystal Crown Arena, whichever one it's called. I always forget that one. But that's what I'm going for. I'm trying to get my best 6-person lineup while making my second best lineup as I get more food and trying to make both teams work for Trial of Champions. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Idle Heroes, I don't think they're gonna change their pricing structure, nothing like that. What
Yeah.
they do seem to be willing to do is give more things away for free to the people who are low spenders or free to play. And in my opinion, it feels good. I Again, it doesn't do anything for
100%
the
agree.
gap, but again, there let's be honest. The only way to close that gap is to literally make spending give you less progress than free. That's literally the only way to close the gap at this point. Not gonna happen. That's just stupid talk right there. It's not gonna happen. You gotta stay in your lane and just know what your goals are.
Yep.
And I think so many people look at the endgame PvP meta and think, oh well, if I'm not doing that, I can't have fun. Granted, PvE, there's a ceiling. There's a really kind of easy ceiling nowadays, especially with heroes like Drake that make your PvE damage go up way higher. But I mean, there's things like making your goals and completing seal lands, like Joon does, doing all his Aspen dungeon stuff. I mean, there's a lot of
Yep.
gameplay and information to get into when you're talking about these different game modes, and especially Aspen. I mean, as you see, you can do it every day of the week and never run out of things to do. But yeah, at least free to play can enjoy a little bit more of the game. That's what I'm talking about, Nick. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is you can actually build the heroes you want. Granted, the whales are going to build them faster now than you, but the fact is you can actually build your heroes at a decent rate. It doesn't take a free to play player 6 months to build an E5 hero. It's going to take half that time now. And
Mhm.
just money's money. A game is a game. They're out to make money. Do I wish they'd make it cheaper? Yes. I mean, they've already made one pass at it with the new developers where they give us more scrolls, more things. They redid all the packages to give you more for your money, at least. So I don't ever really see them adjusting the spending structure, but I do see them changing what they give you for the money and what they give you for free. Like, for example, this event, everybody, you log in, you essentially get an Antlers cane. Free.
Yep. Free endless can. You really can't hate on that. That's a gift for. I mean, a year ago, like I never thought I'd get a pay to win artifact,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was just okay. I'm gonna try to make an E3. Oh, E5's that. Also try to get an E5, right? Try to build the new hero that seems to be the flavor of the month. That was all top of mind. I thought, man, these guides are great on Reddit, but it's all pay to win. It's all whales.
Yeah.
It's this. It's the cog here, and then you need. It was antler there, and
Mm-hmm.
I just dreamt about and I couldn't justify it with my situation to buy the campaign event because that was the only reliable way to get paid to win. It's like yeah, you can just you just have to whale out and you can get
Yep, you just have to
one a
spend
month.
$600 and find the one you
Yeah.
want. Make sure you log in all the right times, and you can finally get it for $600. And it's like
Yeah.
the whole reason why there were the big events is because that was your 2 to 3 times a year you could get a
Hmm.
pay to win artifact, and it usually still wasn't even the best ones. It was usually like the low tier ones. It was never anything amazing, but it felt good because you're like, I have something that I could never get before. Now there's so many different ways to get these pay to win artifacts that even when they release something like Ormus's Workshop, and then you feel like, oh well, now I have another step I have to do. I mean, reality, you don't. I mean, that's to me at least. Ormus's Workshop so far are toys. That's pretty much what they are. I mean, Antlers Cane, yeah, that one can be completely busted overpowered.
Hmm.
But again, nobody can really build it right now. Not even GDP can do that. I mean, you once you have so many heroes, you need an
Yep.
artifact to go with them. So you can't just
Hmm.
trash them all for one lineup. Unless, of course, you're going for just that 6 player lineup, god tier setup. But I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
people that are in that state don't want it. But talking about Ormus, what do you think about the two possibilities we have this week with Punisher and Demon Bell?
I just to touch on that, the fact that both this event and the Palace of Eternity at first glance seemed like it was such a bad thing for the game. Oh my God, look at the path that the devs are taking us down. They want us to make 85 heroes and 85 artifacts, but it gives you like personally from my account, I have 3 Punishers on my account. 2 of them sit currently in my bag. All right. So when they had Ormus event and they released that, I was ecstatic, knowing that eventually there would be an event where the Punisher would be able to be upgraded, and then we could use that, and I could get actually some use out of the ones that are just sitting collecting dust in my bag. So I think these things that usually like it could be Drake as well as another example. You see it at face value right away. Initial impressions are usually way off base. So you just need a little bit of time for not only the meta to settle in, but how it actually progresses, and maybe other events that show up that give you cheaper pay to
Mm-hmm.
wins. And if you have leftovers in your bag like I do, it's a great opportunity to cash them in. And I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Demon Bell, I don't have any currently, but for the Punisher, I'm super excited
Yeah.
because it it would have to make Punisher worse? Because right now I have one on a hero and two in the bag. So it'd have to be actually worse than just a solo, like
Yep.
unleveled
I
Punisher
got
for me to be
4.
upset. So you have four. So it really is like it's just all upside, right? And obviously you need the dust to upgrade and whatnot, but we all have
Yeah.
a certain amount if you've been playing for about a year or so. So I think I'm super super happy that Ormus did come along,
Hmm.
and right now, I mean, with anniversary, it's another great gift for anniversary
Yeah.
that I finally get to cash in now, an
Yep.
extra.
Definitely. And I mean, even ones that are like useless. I mean, they actually made Lucky Candy Bar a decent situational item. Like we were
Hmm.
talking about earlier, it would actually be cool to have a tier 1 glittery Lucky Candy Bar for Aspen Dungeon. It would actually be really, really strong.
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
Aspen Dungeon is that perfect scenario where every single fight it gets to be reused again and again and again. Whereas in a normal fight, it's like, oh yeah, one use is pretty much used up the first attack of the fight and then it's done. Whereas like
Hmm.
Aspen, it's like, no, you get that every single
Release.
round.
Yep.
And I mean, you got to figure they're giving us a lot more artifact income as well. They're giving it to us. They're giving us essentially 3 of them for free over the course of 90 days.
Mhm.
Potentially,
Yes.
potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
got lucky
At
on
least
one of
some
my
food.
accounts, got a demon bell. The other two got garbage, but
Hmm.
there's a chance. And yes,
Yep.
RNG is not very healthy for the game at times, but it feels good if you really, and you know, if you get one, and like I know those people that like had 4 flips in this event and they got 3 Russells. It's like it feels good. And there's people that did 8 flips and got 0, and it's like this feels bad. There's that give and take on all of them,
Yeah.
but I mean, at
Yep.
least with like you were saying, Punisher, I have 4 of them. I don't use any of them. Like I
Yep.
just don't. I
Hmm.
usually leave them as placeholders on my scaries for my third Trial of Champion team. It's like, doesn't really matter. No, because that line's going to lose anyway. It's just how
Hmm.
PvP is. It's not going to win any fights. I'm hoping, and this is where I want to go into a little bit of speculation and see what you think these could be. I've had 2 different visions in my head for both these relics. One of them for the Punisher of Immortal. I don't know why. It's probably more of a pipe dream type thing, but I'd love to see something on it where by critting you get an extra effect, and it gets amplified, of course, from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 as you upgrade it. I mean, something that would be really cool and wouldn't affect the PvP meta, which I'm kind of all in on these situational slash PvE style artifacts so it doesn't break the PvP meta, but doing something where like you crit, it leaves a dot on the target. If it's a burn,
Hmm.
that just makes it so you don't need a burn hero in PvP or PvE. So I think that would
Hmm.
be something cool for Punisher Immortal. Demon Bell, I know this one's probably a huge pipe dream, but something that gives a percent immunity. Uh oh, did we crash? No, we're good. Something that gives like a percent immunity to energy drain. Maybe not 100%, that sounds a little overpowered, but like, you know, a 30%, or like maybe something that's like a 20, 30, 40% immunity to energy drain effects or something like that. That way, you know, the whole point of the Demon Bell is get that round 1 active off.
Hmm.
I feel like something like that would be really useful, but not necessarily broken because it literally just works for a couple attack. I don't know. I don't know. Could be a little overpowered the more I talk about it. But what do you think they could possibly be?
I actually think the Punisher thing is really interesting. Yeah, I never thought about that. That something that is you mentioned a point that's really interesting. Um, the the artifacts being there's going to be certain artifacts that are always going to be strong in PvP, and I think the devs need to be really careful that now that we have this glitter effect moving forward with I guess Crown and Demon Bell this Thursday, those can really shift the meta in a drastic way because if they're very very strong they become very sought after. Now if they're just trying to push sales and they're going to start dropping demon bells every other month, that's a great way to drive up sales because
Yep.
you just needed to compete. And it's always been that artifact that, okay, does this hero have speed? That's the first question you ask about a hero.
Yeah.
How fast is the hero? Does it need energy, right? you,
Yep.
you check those 2 questions, and then what is it? It's demon bell. And if you're on a budget, it's magic source, right? Those are the
Mm-hmm.
only real options, and maybe orb of annihilation if you have that one. But so they really have to skirt that line. The devs really have to figure out how much are we willing to go on this because let's be honest, Demon Bell is the PvP. Now, Crown is in contention, and it's arguably a
Yeah.
better one now because of again the carry thing. So I like that idea of maybe the go-to energy artifact actually has a built-in mechanism when you start investing multiple demon bells and stacking them that it gives you a little bit of protection
Mm-hmm.
against having energy drain. Now they've done that with heroes, so that's very possible. They've done that heroes like with Drake and with Carry, where they have that dodge mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a small chance that it protects them. So they've done that with heroes, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that they'll do that with Demon Bell.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see. I think the energy that it's a nice twist on the energy thing because you don't really need like other things going on because it's just like something that would be truly broken would be something like speed or anything like that, because then it just gets really degenerate where everyone just
Yeah.
needs multiple and you need to get it to level 3 because the speed's going to scale up. Like they're
Mm,
probably not going to do something like that. But
yeah.
yeah, something with energy removal protection of some sort, like
Yeah.
some type of dodge, small thing just for an active maybe. That's definitely interesting. But the PvP, sorry, to touch back on the PvE thing, the Punisher stuff, I think that would be very interesting. Being able to apply a burn dot specifically, even though we talked about the Phoenix bug from earlier,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they're going to shy away from that. But maybe a random, maybe they can make it a little bit more balanced, like a
Yeah.
random dot applied or something would make. I mean, it'd make Delacium amazing. Let's
Yeah.
just say that.
Well, my original idea was since there's 3 tiers, they make it so that like tier 1 if you crit you leave a poison, tier 2 you leave a poison and a bleed, tier 3 you also leave a burn. So it's like they make you need to get to that final stage to actually make it useful and not completely broken. But it does make you have more varied lineups, especially with Drake now too, to not need a Sigmund.
Mhm. Yeah, that's huge. Like opening up a slot is always a great thing. I think it'd be nice if they had a game mode they made specifically just for like a seventh hero, whether that be PvP or PvE, like a
Yeah.
different format completely, just so as we start building these heroes out in our collections, I would like to see just one more slot open up just so we get a little more diversity. It could be very, like a small little thing on the side that we can play test with, but that would open up a whole new meta game. And I think, again, that's just healthy for the game overall.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you were talking about the Demon Bell there, I was kind of thinking of a way to actually make it more balanced, just from my ideas, because I'm like, permanent energy drain reduction over course of a whole fight could be actually really overpowered. I could honestly see something because as you've noticed, like the tier 1 isn't always that great on a lot of these that we've seen, but the tier 3 is usually really good.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it was something like 30% chance in the first round, or then 60% and then 100%. So it's only active for that first round. But I mean, the first round's the important one when you're running
Yeah.
someone with an energy artifact. You're not too worried about the rounds after that. You're worried
Yeah.
about getting something to happen immediately round 1. I think
Mhm.
putting speed on it would probably be a big mistake because that would
Yeah.
devalue
Oh
so
no.
many artifacts in the game.
Oh, please no, please no.
So
Let's
I'm
let's not
really
even say
hoping it has.
that.
I'm really just hoping it has something to do with some sort of CC reduction or something like that. Something like energy specific CC. The other thing I was thinking that would be really cool is if it had some sort of mark protection. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
there really
surprised if
isn't.
something
Yeah.
has a mark protection built into it.
Mhm.
But we'll have to see on that. I don't know. And if guys, of course, if you are watching, they finally put a CD key in the game, so you can stop asking what's the CD key. What do I put in? What? This is it right here. Go do it. All caps. Throw it in there. Do it. But
Yeah.
the one thing I wanted to kind of be our last topic here is actually going all the way back to last Wednesday and going over the event preview for next week. So we didn't get too much information this morning because we already got it all.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have a wine cooking on a raft. So it's very similar to 2019's Chinese New Year event, where you're gonna get these.
Mhm.
What are they pronounced? Zongzi? Is that what they're called?
Sure.
I'm guessing.
Asian cosine. Yep, that's how you
Yeah,
say
there we go.
it.
So you get these from the event, and you'll be able to give them to one of 2 different heroes, of course. Either what is that, Olivia, or no, that's yeah, it's Olivia and Shia, right? I think
Yep.
maybe. I'm gonna
Olivian.
go with
Yep.
yes. But
Jaya.
you can give them to one or the other. Actually, you know what? It's very similar to this year's Chinese New Year, where you do the fireworks. You either pick Penny or
Yep.
Carrie, I think, or
Hmm.
I don't remember the two
Yeah,
heroes.
Penny and Care. Yeah. Yep.
But you
It's
give
Penny
them
and
to
Care.
one of them, and you finish their whole side. You get extra rewards. Then you can start on the next side. So one of those sides is going to give an Ada. The other one is going to give an Amun Ra, I believe. And then we're also getting an Ada from Heroic Miracle. So that's 2 Ada copies in one event. I
Hmm.
mean, that sounds like some pretty good rewards, and it feels like most of that, I hope, is coming from Profit Orb loops. At least last year, I think we got those koi coins from doing Profit Orb loops that I can't remember.
Yes, we did get currency there, and I think you had to toss it in the wishing well or whatever. And yeah, there's a couple benchmarks you had to hit, but Yeah, one of them should definitely be if it's anything like Chinese New Year's, one of them is definitely going to be completely free to play if you have the resources, and you should be able to do one full tech tree.
Yep.
And the other one is probably going to be you're going to have to spend a little bit with some
Yeah.
packages, but that's to be expected. I mean,
Yep.
that's the usual MO for the events.
Yep, and then it does, if I remember, yeah, right here, how to obtain them. You get them from daily rewards, so from the check-ins. So that actually makes me believe if it's from daily rewards, does that mean we're not going to get any more scratch-off coins?
Hmm.
I just thought of
I was
that.
on
I was
yeah, I was
expecting
under the
another 50
assumption.
scratch-off coins.
Yeah, me too. Because the event's running for two
Oh,
weeks, if I'm not mistaken, right? We have another week for
yeah.
the event.
But I feel like they might be changing the daily. They're obviously going to change the daily packages to be a profit orb plus something else, which
Right.
might be these gifts. You will get them from auto battle as well, so it's going to be a campaign event lumped in. Which I love how much they're using a free campaign event loot in a lot of their events lately. It's just a tack on here's free stuff type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've been doing that quite often. You can purchase them with
Hmm.
gold as well, and then looks like value and anniversary packages. So I've heard two different things. So I've actually been talking to one of the, I guess, I don't know if they're a developer or probably just, one of the customer support people, the community managers on Reddit, the official Idle Heroes account. They kind of give me a little information every day when I ask stuff. They did say that you will not get anniversary badges from the wine cooking on a raft like we hoped. You will not get them from using your profit orbs besides the Be With Us event that we already have. So those two that we're waiting to do profit orbs and branch swaps, that's pretty much all you're going to get. And then to me, they said the only way to get them was going to be special packages. Somebody else messaged in game and they said value packages as well. I don't see them being on value packages. I see this wine cooking raft event currency being on the value packages. And I feel like the anniversary ones, the special ones that there might be like 2 to 3 of them, those might have some anniversary badges. So if you guys are looking to get those Russell copies by flips and you are willing to pay, you're probably better off doing it in this first week and not risking it. Again, you can wait till Thursday and figure out for sure, but yeah, it's kind of my take on it. What about yours, June?
Yeah, and before the complaints come about the Badgers, I'll preface by saying that because I think some people are expecting because we get 12. If I think I'm right in saying there's 12 when you do the profit orbs, the branches, and everything that was available this week. So you're still going to be shy, what, 8 to get the pay to win chest or 3 to
Mm-hmm.
get the Russell copy.
Yep.
So I would think it's. I mean, this is just me trying to be somewhat of a pessimist, but I want to say that I'm expecting anywhere between 0 and 1 badges. I'm sorry to say, but I think because once you get higher, closer to that 15 range, it really depends. If the devs are willing to give a free Russell copy to every player that's, enjoyed the game for the last year or the last 6 months saving up for this event, I think that's totally fine. That's totally reasonable, and I
Yep.
can see that being possible. But once you get into the 16 for free, 17 territory, that starts really devaluing the crown because that's probably what most people are going to get or the
Yep.
receptor.
Yep. I got two
So
of
I
them,
just
so
think, yeah, I just think it's reasonable maybe to get at 1 or 2, maybe close to 15, but anything above 15 for free just seems like it doesn't fit in with what DH usually does, regardless of how generous they feel.
hmm
I feel that a Russell would make everyone feel at least okay, they
yeah,
did
one
something for us.
guaranteed Russell.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's within reason, but
Yep.
yep.
I totally agree with that too, and of course there's gonna be plenty of people that don't like that because they feel like if they have saved for 6 months, then they deserve to get everything in the event. That's
Mhm.
just not going to happen. I'm sorry. I mean, as much as that would be amazing, that would make no incentive for people to pay, which would, I mean, that's granted. Should we have to pay as much as we have? No, I don't think so. We should like cut that in half, maybe even a little bit more, and I think a lot more people would actually do it. I mean, let's
Mhm.
be honest, you guys in chat, if you could have completed this whole event off $300-400, would you have just gone all in? I know a few of you definitely would because you probably went in all in no matter what, kind of like me. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like mild spending was kind of kicked in the face this time, where it was like only the whales really get with what they want. I mean, I never expected free to play to get everything. I was hoping by all the spoilers they'd get a lot. They got very. See, again, I can't even say they got very little in this event. The problem is that Russell was the better hero, and we all knew Russell was going to be the better hero. He was the paywall hero. It's just
Hmm.
it's how it works. You're not going to
Yep.
get people to pay if it's not the better hero. So it's this really hard thing I kind of go back and forth on because I have an account I don't actually ever show that is pretty much free to play. It's like card only because I wanted to have the experience of what it feels like to not be able to do every event and you have to save and all that. And then of course I have my big whale ones. I have ones right in the middle as well. And honestly, the one account that I use that is essentially free to play is cards only is what I do. The current game feels good at the rate I'm actually getting stuff for free and things like that. I got
Hmm.
really lucky. I probably should have made a video of it, but I got really lucky this last instant adventure and it got to like 230. I was so happy. I got a hero copy, which I needed. I got a resource chest that I needed. I didn't get the light and dark, but I wasn't expecting that. But I mean, I'm kind of in this like, I can understand some outrage to an extent, but at the same time, I understand why the structure of the game is what it is, while still feeling like the game should be slightly more accessible value, or not even value wise, I guess dollar wise.
I
I feel
think,
like I
yeah,
feel like completing events should cost $500. Simple as that.
like I'll piggyback off that idea, just how you mentioned there. That's something that I've kind of experienced over the last, I want to say 3, 4 months. Uh, Most people, I would say, I think I'm correct in saying this. Most people probably have like one account. Maybe they have one burner account, which is just something that they just want to roll scrolls on, not really safe. That they have one main focus account, and they have one on the side that they can kind of just fool around on. And I think your perspective will change, even though it's pretty crazy to think of. When you start running multiple accounts and managing multiple, you start having different game experiences. And you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that the experience you're having with the account that just has the monthly cards, and you notice that this is like a pretty crazy pace, right? They
Yeah,
have like
very
compared to when we
crazy.
first started, like you're not really getting anything, and it's like wow, the gap is so
Yep.
huge between me and the whales, and even the mid spenders, it seems pretty big. But now the pace is definitely faster, and I think when you get different game experiences, that'll just inform your expectations. And again, managing your expectations, right? People that save for a year or 6 months, I mean, that is a feat in and of itself. But to expect to get everything for free, I don't think that's a reasonable expectation. That would be, like you said, it would be nice, but I think they have a business model. They have like their way that they do their things, and the devs develop the game in a certain way, and they just decided that Russell was the one they should keep behind a paywall,
Yeah.
and that they should put Drake in the forefront. Now that switch at the last minute definitely like soured a lot of people. Just like,
Yeah,
oh, why
everybody
would you do
expecting
that?
a light ranger,
Yeah.
which we were right. It was a light
Yeah.
ranger, but we were
Yeah.
expecting it with. Honestly, I wasn't even expecting a second hero because of the pace that we were getting new heroes. Like, no, they're just gonna have one hero. There's no way. We're already getting one hero a month. There's no way they're gonna do two, and then they throw two at you.
Hmm.
I mean, one thing I was reading chat here, and one thing like, that you said as well also wrong home is when I compare my first experience in the game, I was probably I don't even know how much I was spending, but I was spending on pretty much every event. Not a ton, but I was spending every single week, every event. I was doing a little bit extra to try to get that start because in the beginning, there's not much to do. You're just waiting. You're waiting for resources, and then you're waiting to get Sealand progress so that it kind of tumbleweeds and starts building like a snowball and getting more and more progress. But the account that I have right now, the rate that I am growing is ridiculous. Like I already almost have an E3 hero after like 3 months, something like that. I'm like, do you know how long it took me to get my first E3 hero? I feel like it was like 4, 5 months at least, something
Hmm.
like that. And it wasn't even the best hero. It was just
Yeah.
a
That is
hero I
difficult.
had copies of, Queen.
Hmm.
So yeah. And that was just because I just couldn't get
Yeah.
hero copies. I
Yeah.
wanted to build that King Barton that could push Sealand and everything,
Yeah.
but I just wasn't getting copies, and I had him at 9 star forever because I couldn't get hero copies. Now we're getting more relics. We're getting, of course, tons of 9 star dummies left and right. Granted, some of them are paywalled, but they are affordable paywalled, I will say. Not cheap. I won't say cheap, but I'll say affordable paywall stuff. So I mean, I mean, even like the anniversary card is a billion times better than previous years. Like a billion. You get twice as many relics, more gold, more gems, There's nothing bad about it. You can't say anything bad about it. They gave it to you for the exact same price at that as well.
Yep.
It's just I mean I do feel like they're trying, and so that's why when I saw everybody really digging in and complaining about the event, I'm like, okay, maybe it's not what your expectations were, but it's still better. I mean, people keep going back saying last year's was better, last year's anniversary, but I think a lot of people forgot what last year's anniversary was like. You didn't get to build either one of your heroes. It was very big paywalled. They had a brand new artifact that essentially, if you weren't in endgame yet, if you were still mid game or early game, it essentially made your Valkyrie useless. Because at that point last year, I had a King Barton, which always got destroyed by Valkyrie. Guess what? I get this torch, and now I never lose. Simple as that. One item that breaks a hero last year. A lot of people complained. A lot of people forget that rage and things like that. So, I
Yeah.
mean, when expectations are this high, there's bound to be people mad. But I just hope we kind of keep the level of, no, we're still making progress. It might
Yes.
feel like a small speed bump due to expectations, but I do feel like we have to continue to try to not just go outrage mode, keep building constructively and keep giving feedback that isn't ridiculous. Because, of course, I don't know about you, but anytime you hear something ridiculous, I just tune it out essentially. I'm just like, I don't even
Yeah.
entertain it.
Hmm.
Nope.
Yeah.
Small progress is, I feel like, the only way a game like this is going to change. And hopefully, if we keep this up and keep communicating with them on Reddit and stuff like that,
Yep.
hoping it makes progress. But again, maybe people, I mean, I'm sure people are going to disagree in the comments here for sure. But I mean, that's my take on it. I don't know about you, June.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's I guess like that's one of the reasons why we want to have this discourse, right? It's just so we can get together, we can, spitball ideas and hear from the community, and we can come up with a solution. And whether the devs want to take that or completely deny it or not even listen, I mean, that's on them. But we're actively trying to do something and make the community better.
Yeah.
And us all showing up here and conversating, whether it be on Reddit, leaving comments, wherever it is, it's gonna just be healthy overall for the game. So I'm for any type of conversation that can lead to progressing the game in a positive direction. And they're doing a great job. Whether I don't know how much they're into, going through all the content and really getting feedback from their player base. Like everyone's always probably complaining in the support chat. I really feel bad for the people in the support chat because they're probably totally different from the devs, but they're just
Yeah.
getting berated every single day for
Yeah.
all the mistakes that the players think that the devs are making. But again, miles and miles ahead of where we were a year ago on all metrics, right?
Yeah.
It's certain things are more accessible, affordable. I think just overall, I don't have complaints. And again, that is just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And through my experience of experiencing multiple accounts and just going through the last year of idling, but for me, it's the golden age. It's never been better.
Yeah.
It really hasn't been.
Mm-hmm. It's never been as exciting either, because even if you remember in past years, I mean, I started doing the news, what, like October, November. At this time last year, all there were the spoilers that we got translations from Chinese. Like, there really weren't official posts on their social medias in English for us to actually look
Hmm.
forward to, look at, grab information. It was like, seriously, it was really all about just trying to get those leaks information. And now they just keep giving more information, and now they're even posting the event information directly on Reddit with their official account and things like that. So I'm hoping that their community team, I feel like before their community team, it seems like it's the same people, at least the name tag, the tags, Carbon, all of them. It seems like the same people, but it does feel
Hmm.
like they have more permission to speak more freely about things in the game, things that are going to be upcoming. Because before, they basically would just say, oh, well, wait and see. Now you have developers saying, oh, no, they'll probably be in this, or this will happen. And we're working on it. It's just not going to happen just yet. And then, of course, we have the Q&A, which they gave us some of those, like the PvE stuff. They said, yeah, we're working on it, but it's nowhere near complete, so don't bank on it. So I'm guessing like a year. But then they come back and say, hey, we got this brand new Guild Wars system that's going to be something you can interact with every single day of the week. It's not a set once and have one person smash the button every day.
Hmm.
We're going to have new Trial of Champion, which I'm really excited for, especially with all these Sherlocks out there. It could be some really long fights without the
Yep.
15 turn limit. There's a bunch of stuff going on, so I mean, I'm going to post this to YouTube as well. So guys that are watching this on YouTube, please post a comment down below. I don't care how differing of opinions you have from me or anything. Everybody keep it clean. I want to know what your opinions are of the game. Let me know if you like the direction they're going, if they're not going fast enough, if you think they should go faster, or if you like that they're making progress. I mean, probably everybody's going to say they want to go faster, but and within reason. So, I mean, like the Slasher says, and judging by the Monopoly event, the development team is trying to improve the game a lot. I mean, we're essentially getting a free hero copy we need a month now, free to
Yeah,
play
it's
for
crazy.
Imps Adventures.
It's
Like
absolutely
it's just
crazy.
crazy to think about. So,
Yeah.
do you have anything you want to close on here, June?
No, I think we covered a lot of stuff. Again, I'm super excited for this upcoming week.
Yeah.
I got a little scroll to roll on my accounts for the next couple of days. I've decided to do that, but the Orb event is exciting. The
Yep.
Punisher, I can't wait to finally dust off the two in my bag and try
Yep.
to hopefully use it somewhere.
Yeah, I
Try
know,
to
right?
make use of
Yep.
that. But yeah,
Yeah,
super
hopefully,
stoked.
hopefully the heroic miracle too, guys. You gotta remember right here, this paragraph or this little sentence right here comes straight out of her biography in game for Ada. So, 99% chance sure it's Ada. And again, just to recap here again, both heroes are gonna be in Abyss from Prophet Orbs. 80 is gonna be Delacing. It's gonna follow the pattern. I don't see them ever changing that. And of course, you can orb for Russell and Drake, so I'm definitely putting all my orbs in light and dark because I need the light food anyway. But definitely let me know what you guys think, and we'll be back next week again, probably as a post-mortem to the total anniversary event. Once we
Yep.
see everything we can get, and by then hopefully have better testing with Drake too. Like you said, we're only 4 days in with Drake, and it's really hard to do all this testing, figure out exact combinations. Because as you see, stones enables are one thing, but stones and artifacts make all the difference in the world right now. So hopefully we can get more testing. Hopefully GDP keeps doing all his crazy math stuff. He's what we need
Yep.
since Zeals is gone. I used to love all Zeals in-depth breakdowns, mechanics, and everything, and without Zeals doing that, I'm definitely not someone for that. I don't enjoy it, so don't look for it, guys. You know what type of channel I'm for. I'm for fun. I'm for fun, stupidness, and a little bit of good information. So hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the event, and we'll see you next time.